Hey everybody, before we get into today's video, I just wanted to remind you that I am offering demo reviews again. So if you're interested in me watching your full demo, half your demo, maybe it's just the T side you need some help on, click the join button on my channel page. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how you, a rifler, can start transitioning into becoming an opper. Now, usually it's the opposite, right? Majority of people want to use the op. I was one of those when I first started the game, just the flashiness of the op, it's also fairly easy. The mechanics aren't too difficult to get down, and once you get those down, you can really rely on it using the op crutch, as some people call it. And then you have to transition into rifling, which can be a little bit difficult, right? Because the op can get you out of a lot of different situations very easily. But not everybody works like that. I know a lot of people that are very good riflers, but you give them an op and they go, no, drop, I don't want this. They don't really know how to use it effectively. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how you can, as a newer player, intermediate player, and then more experienced player, really get into using the op. So first things first, my main piece of advice for anybody trying to get into the op is start on CT side. T-side opping is a completely different ballgame. Trying to time it up with your teammates, you're also hurting your economy a lot. CT side, it's a lot easier to use an op. Now for beginners, I recommend picking a map where it's, very straightforward what you're holding with the op. For example, B site on Inferno. Right? You only have one angle that they can come peek you at, right? They're not really going to be coming from CT, and at that point, like, you know it, and you can just sit back here and hold both angles at the same time, right? It's really not that difficult. So just starting out, picking a site, picking a map where it's going to be very straightforward on how to hold things with the op. Now, you do have to be a little bit concerned about rotating, but at lower levels, I mean, it's not really too much of a thing. You're more just practicing using the op. Now, with a site like this, it's going to give you a lot of potential to get those flashy clips, right? Because since there's only really one angle that the T's are going to be coming out of, you can easily get collaterals. Two people are going to swing. You get the one, you fall off, you maybe you get the second. There's one of my oldest clips. Maybe the first clip I posted on YouTube is playing this spot. Using an op, and it was just the flashiness of it just caught my attention. I wanted to do it.
Defusing the bomb. Bomb has been defused.
Now, again, since it's a very simple thing, there's also very simple things you can practice while doing this, all right? In my latest Road to Level 10 video, if you went and you watched and you could see that somebody would swing this corner, right? I'd shoot, and then I would reposition because it's kind of expected for the op to stay there. Then I'd go here, and I'd get somebody else, and then I would reposition, right? Just catching the T's off guard and moving around so they can't really expect where you're going to be. Because if you shoot, the thing with the op, you shoot once, you have to fall off, and then you have to repeak, right? The last thing you want to do as a beginner is just stand here, shoot, and then shoot again, because that second and a half where you're cocking the gun back, right? You can just get shot at, and you can't defend yourself. So you have to hide, you have to turn down, you have to do that. There's a lot of different things that you can do, right? And if you're on the T side, right, you're just gonna sit here and hold for them to repeak, and then you can shoot. Which, I mean, the angle shouldn't be too difficult. So that's when you can either rotate to CT to a completely different spot, or you shoot like that, you fall off, and you repeak from a different angle, so they can't really pre-fire you. They don't have the lineup, because if you get shot at from here, right, you're not going to be holding right here for the guy to peek, so you have to make the adjustment, trying to make the quick flick over, and it makes it a little bit more difficult for them. So just when you're a beginner, or if you're a beginner, just very simple things, keep it all straightforward for you. Now you're at an intermediate level, right, and you know all the spots that oppers play, like for on train, right? You play back 6, maybe you have an opper Z. Sometimes you can solo op B, right, and just pick some nice angles where you can kind of keep an eye on both things while not being peeked. You know, there's a couple different things that you can do, right? So you have all those positions down, but now how do you actually do it? Now, you're not only going to play CT side at this intermediate level, right? You're going to want to also pick up T side and start getting comfortable with that. But let's stick to CT side just for a second here. So with this, right, you need to be aware of how to take fights, right? You can't just come and peek this angle off a spawn every single time, right? Because an opera can be posted up here, opera can be posted there. They can kill you with a better spawn from this angle, right? So then you have to start getting some variety going on, right? Peeking like that, coming around old bomb, right? Coming up to here, coming up to camera, and peeking like that, right? You know, mixing it up, moving around. Now, on train, this is a very common angle to get smoked off. Same with sandwich is probably the most common to get smoked off. And with sandwich getting smoked off, let me skip ahead and just smoke sandwich off. With sandwich getting smoked off, right? Now you can't really hold anything back red. So you need to adjust where you're playing. They also might throw a smoke coming out of Pop Dog so they can maybe cross over to E-Box, pretend that smoke, you know, fits there. But so then you can't see anything. So then you have to reposition. Now, train is a fun map because you have this whole back lane, right, that you can just go around and, you know, try to deal with that. And it's pretty fun. There's also two things you're doing, right? You're trying to hold T-Con, and then you have to let your teammates do that. Then you have to hold Ivy. But you can't just hold Ivy like this, right? Because then you're exposed to somebody coming out there. So you need to push your back up against the wall. But then you're exposed to somebody swinging out there. So there's a lot of different angles that you're exposed to. You're doing a lot of things at once here on train. And so that's why, you know, this is a more intermediate. So when you're a beginner, you know, you can keep everything in front of you, focus on the one angle, get used to repositioning and how to re-peek against people, right? On train, this is where you have a lot of stuff going on, right? Smokes are going to be coming down. You're going to get flashed off this angle so much, right? The biggest thing that T's do is they throw flashes that actually go over this wall. And so with that, I mean, you're just blind off the rip. I used to have a bind that would rethrow nades. Is it M? There we are. Oh. No, that's no clip. Never mind. I don't know how to throw nades anymore. That sucks. But you're just going to get full blind off of this. And with the, you know, then you have to fall back a little bit so the flashes don't get you. But then, you know, somebody could be up on the train. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. You get my point. Moving on to the T side of things. T side opping on train is probably one of the more straightforward T side things to, like T op sides on the maps, right? Because you're coming out here, you're not really worried about that if you're going for this early pick. You're going for this C pick, which I really do not recommend doing. But you can also come up here and go for that back 6 pick. You can come up here and hold for this peak where they're peeking upper, right? There's a lot of just really simple things that you can hold with an op on T side, which, you know, more times than not, the CTs at an intermediate level are just going to walk into your crosshair and give you the free kill. Now, post-plant on train, especially on, well, even on B site, but A site especially, right, is going to be very powerful with the op. Let's say it's planted default, which is right back here, right? I mean, you can sit T-Con and kind of see a leg sticking out there. You can move up and easily get that kill, right? You can sit pop and easily get that kill. Even getting up into heaven with the op isn't the worst idea, but you do have to be careful that that only does like 80 damage, right? Because you're wall banging through a piece of glass, and the glass, you know, you can't die through glass. That just doesn't work. So just really positioning yourself on T side is a big thing, and learning how to be patient, right? Also learning how to be really, really concentrated, aggressive plays. For example, going for this Z pick, right? That's not necessarily the best thing to do, but maybe every once in a while, if you're really feeling it, you can go for that. Another thing would be coming up and like looking for the opper holding this angle, which is a very common angle to be held, right? Trying to get that pick, or even coming out here and just trying to get that easy, quick pick onto the guy, because, you know, he's not going to be expecting that. Usually, you know, maybe a rifler will be here or a rifler will be here, just holding this angle, right? And so if you jump down and catch him off guard, Like, that is potentially a kill right there. Also, you know, nice contact plays, just clearing off angles here. Very, very easy thing. You're working from right over to left, and you don't really have to recheck too many angles here. Then you can just slowly work your way out. Nice contact play potential. Same thing with Ivy, right? Nice. You're coming up here. You can peek it from up here just to get a nice little off angle. You can also peek it from on top of these dumpsters to get an off angle. Lots of things that you can do. And then once you have this, you can slowly start to contact up. Just hold this angle. At this point, you'll probably hear some footsteps or them reloading or them throw a nade or something so you can guess which side they're on. And then from there, you can wait. You can slowly, you know, peek without being too exposed to this angle, right? So Train is just a very good starting map for T-side opping. Now, when you see Mirage, you might think that this is a very simple map to op on, and I mean, you're right if you're talking about CT side. CT side is pretty simple, especially like, let's just go from right to left. You're playing CT, right? You just can just post up on ramp. You don't really have to worry about too much. Maybe you have to flash over mid for your teammate every once in a while. You do have to be worried about the guy coming out of Palace. Let me see if I still know how to throw this. There used to be a time when I was good at this video game. Maybe it's from back here when I could throw utility. Yep, it's not. I can't do it anymore. But yeah, so CT side, there you go. You can also opt from con. Usually this is the window player who's moved over, right? And you can, you know, it's just nice, simple angles. There's a couple of them that you need to worry about in different spots, but for the most part, they're nice, longer angles that you can just post up on. You know, this little crack you can see through. Right, so it's pretty simple. You can opt from just about any spot on the map. But T-side is where opping becomes very, very difficult to do it right. So this is why this is going to be more of an advanced, you know, how to op on T-side. Because you can't do it as a beginner. Yeah, you can come out, you can go for the ramp pick, you can maybe get it every once in a while, but that doesn't mean that you're playing it right? You can walk through Palace, maybe do a contact play. Opping on Mirage T-side, just to do it properly, right, is very difficult because Mirage T-side is great for rifling, especially going through mid, right? Rifling in mid is wonderful because you have three main angles that you need to worry about, and they're not going to peek you one at a time, right? And the big drawback of the op is you can only shoot one thing at a time, and then you have to wait a second. And so if two people peek you, something like that, I mean, you might get one, but then you're not getting the second. With the rifle, you have the potential to get all three. You can get two pretty quick. If two people swing out, like con, that's, you know, a very common thing. With the op, you can only shoot one of them at a time. Two people swing out when you have a rifle, you can get both very easily, right? So that's why the op is difficult, because it's so much easier to rely on the rifle. And, you know, if you're taking mid with the op, you just need to be hands off, right? You know that these angles are so easy for you, right? Just holding like that. That's so nice. Once you get, you know, trying to hold like that and start clearing things, that's so great. But to get up to that position, you need to be hands off and let your riflers move up and take angles for you. So you can help them, right? You can hold, okay, I got top con, or I'm holding the con peak. Okay, then they're starting to get down, and then you can, okay, well, I'm holding window. It's usually smoked, right? So you're waiting for the window smoke to fade, and then, you know, you can start moving up. All right, well, I'm working up cat. You got to wait for the ladder guy or watch for the ladder guy. Then you can work up here. Then lots of people get stuck right on chair because this is just, you know, it's an angle. Why would you want to give up? Somebody could peek at any moment. But, you know, having to move across and then slowly work your way up con, you know, looking for the ticket guy, that's very difficult, right? But the biggest thing is knowing how to transition from being that passive skedoodle type opper to that. Is that even a reference I can make anymore? I mean, last time he played was what, like 2018? It's 2023 now. I don't know. But being that passive opper to being that more aggressive opper, taking that first contact in the middle of the round, right? Like in the same exact round, you have to do multiple things. For example, you know, another thing coming up through apps, right? Maybe you're doing a contact play, everybody is behind you, right? You get to here, You know, you're clearing off, nobody's peeking, right? Then you can slowly start working up. Your riflers should be about, right next to you at this point. Because at this, like, where you are here, you can start posting up clear. Once you have this clear and you can hold market window, this is instead of you being the first person, the aggressor, the contact player, right? Now that you're holding this, and this is probably broken, right? You can cut the rotates, and now you just stop. Now you can let your rifles past you, and then those riflers are going to be clearing out the site. And then even with that, sometimes like if one guy, like a CT is over here on Cat and he's just killing everybody, you might have to swing in, get that kill, help out your team. But for the most part, you go from aggressive to passive just like that. Right, same thing on A. Contact plays are very, very, very doable on Mirage. So you're coming up here, you're looking, you start clearing out CT, and once you can get, like, this is okay, you can hold from there, but once you get to like here and you can really lock down CT, this is where you're going to stop and then let everybody else be aggressive. There's no reason for you to push out here because then you're just exposing yourself to so many angles at once that you can't clear out with the op. Remember the drawbacks of the op is that you can only shoot one angle at a time, right? So if somebody's tucked in sandwich here and there's a guy, firebox or behind default, right? Maybe you're going to get one. Those are both weird angles that you wouldn't really be looking at with the op. You're going to be looking at the longer angles, like looking jungle when you're swinging out and all that. You might get one, but you're not going to get both. That's why you let your riflers go in, who will be able to trade them out a lot easier, and are going to, maybe potentially just get those 2 kills in the first place. So the way that you really get into opping and, like, overall is just by doing it on CT side, right? You want to get into games and do that. Obviously, and I think this goes without saying, you want to go into a deathmatch or an aimbots or something and get used to flicking, get used to hitting your shots, right? Get used to... Yeah, honestly, like in aimbots, one of the easiest things to do is, let's say you have a bot here and a bot here, right? You aim at the first bot and you flick over to the second bot. You aim at the first bot, you flick over to the second bot, right? And it's easy. You do 5 in each direction, 5 right flicks, 5 left flicks. Then if you're not hitting them all, you do it again, you do it again, you do it. That's how you improve with the op. But how to actually get the game sense to use the op and to be confident with it and to not just mess up your economy because you keep forcing an op every single time and you keep dying with it, you actually have to play the game, right? And so why was that so shadowy? That got so dark. Oh, is this... That's new, right? It's not a thing. I'm getting distracted easily. I apologize. But no, starting off CT side as a beginner, you're getting the mechanics down, all that. You're really understanding how to repeat. Then intermediate, you can start working towards T side, but don't do too much, right? You keep it on easy maps where it's really effective to op and really easy to op. Train is an easy map to op on. Sometimes Nuke is easy to op on T side, but once you get to like mid to late round, it becomes a lot more difficult because everything becomes a lot more close quarters. And then moving on to the advanced where you're opping on any map that you pick, right? You're just the main op. People are working around you, and you have the confidence to call those plays. Like, hey, contact behind me. Let me have the first contact. Just wait for me to get a kill, and then we're going to go out. Or you have to call for yourself. You have to be very vocal as an opper, because if you don't say anything, nobody really knows what you're doing, or nobody knows what you want to do. And the op is too powerful of a weapon to just sit back, be the third, fourth man in every single time. Sometimes it needs to make plays on its own. So I hope that made sense for you guys. Thank you all for watching. Again, if you want your demo reviewed by me, click the join button on my channel page and just DM me on Discord if you have any questions about it. We can talk about it, and I'm very available and open to talking to anybody. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.